Imagine that someone gives you an opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to build a university from scratch. This is what happened to us at Fulbright University Vietnam, a project that took more than 10 years. We want to build an independent, private, not-for-profit university in Vietnam, inspired by the American-style liberal education, but in Vietnam for the Vietnamese. We have two options. The first one is just to look at all the other models in the world, very successful models for the last 100, 200, and in some countries they even existed for 400 years and seems to be very successful. Let's look at them, replicate them, bring them to Vietnam, and execute the same model in Vietnam. But a lot of things that happen in the next 10 years could be completely changed, and then it is even the change are faster than what we have seen for the last 200 years. So should we waste such opportunity by replicating old models? We don't think so, and we decided to embark on a not well-trodden path. We want to innovate the university, and we want to reimagine what university will be like in the next 5 years, 10 years, or longer, so that we can be relevant to what we are seeing now. So in order to reimagine the university, we have another set of possibilities and choice. The first set that a lot of people will say is that why don't you bring to Vietnam a bunch of experts in education who have seen a lot, done a lot, and then now let's bring them here. Put them in a room, don't let them leave, and then after about 2 months, 4 months, or 6 months, or even a year, they can come up with a perfect journey of education for the student of Vietnam. Again, we step back and we ask ourselves, is that the right way to do it? These days, knowledge is so available, and the way the students learn is no longer in the same way like they did in my generation, or even like 10 years ago. So we decided to do another very different approach. We decided to bring professors and students together and to create a 1 year that we call a co-design year, where professors and students work together to hone all the 4 years experience at college. That include academic experience, include experiential learning experience, residential life experience, student government experience, and so on. And we hope that by co-design the experience, the students are going to be a real owner of their education journey. And that will also help them to move from a rote learning tradition into a more interactive, problems-based education, problem-solving education. Now, design theory is not new in the industry, in the market. You see design theory applied in a lot of tech companies. And probably no one honed better design concept than Apple and the iPhones in your hand. I'm not a fan of going for the best model, so I don't know how many versions they have, but then I know exactly that the moment they have one version, they put it in the market, they talk to the users, and then they improve it. Why can't we do it with education? Why education have to be the same for many, many years until now. So we embark on the co-design journey. And I just want to share with you some of the stories of what happened in the co-design year and why we believe that it is the best way to create an education which can stay relevant for what is happening now and then may happen in the very near future. 54 students and about 16 faculty, we together form a team. And we are going to test out a lot of assumptions that have been accepted as a universal assumption for education in the world, or assumption about Vietnamese education, about Vietnamese students. The first assumption that a lot of people thought or believe is that the way for the student to learn best is to put them in a very, very, very structured environment. They read the books, they go to class, the professor gives the lectures, and then they go home and do the exercise. And they will find the answers to the solution that has been designed. Guess what? One day at 4 p.m., we decided to assign a problem to the group of students. The problem related to computer programming. And we know that among our 54 students, the majority have never done a computer science class. But what we asked them to do is that here are the links that you need to look and check online. And tomorrow, when you come to the school, we are going to give you some problems that you have to use Python to solve. You can imagine the reaction of the students. You are completely crazy, you are unreasonable. How could you ask us to do something that we haven't even been taught? But guess what? Again, next day, all 5 groups work out a solution with Python as a language, as a program, to solve a prime number of questions. Now they came to the solution and the answer in different way, but they all got the right answers. So this is the assumption that we want to challenge. Will it be better to create a kind of mess for the student to learn? Maybe they learn better in a mess rather than in an orderly room. You think about yourself. If you are a good cook, probably you do a lot in the kitchen. Sometimes you burn your food. Sometimes the food is too salty. But then you struggle through that. And then one day you become a master chef. No master chef actually cook according to a cookbook. So that's one example. The second example that I just want to share with you is the assumption that engineering is dry, engineering is hard. Engineering is for a very structured learning. You build a bridge, you don't want the bridge to collapse. And it is nearly impossible to combine any other discipline into engineering. Don't tell me that we should teach engineering with humanities or with arts. Now another assignment. We sent 2 groups of students to go to find elder people in the society in Saigon. When we define elder, we are talking about people who are above 80. And we want the students to talk to them, find a way so that they can share their life, their personal story, and understand all the difficulty that they are facing with in their life, and come up with the idea of a product that can help them to improve their daily life. Again, you imagine the millennia. most of the time, you believe that they stick to their iPad, their iPhone. They don't even talk to parents during dinner. But now they have to go and try to find an answer from someone who is their grandparents. And how can they do that? Yes, that's the task. And again, after 2 weeks, the two groups proudly presented the products that they decided to create for these people. And I have to say that I have never seen I have never witnessed an emotional and powerful session between the students and the people outside in the society. So another assumption has been challenged. If you want to be a good engineer, it is not only the technical skill that you need to hone. You need a lot more than that. You need empathy. We talk a lot about empathy today, so that you can connect with people that they are going to use your products. You need to be able to ask questions, the communication skill, so that people are willing to reveal all their weakness to you. And without that, probably the products would never been used and never been sold. So another assumption has been challenged. A third example that I just want to share with you is that there has been a perception that Vietnamese students are very, very passive in their learning. They only take order. They only take assignment, and they just quietly go and then do whatever the teachers told them. And you don't expect Vietnamese students to be proactive and be engaged and own their education experience. Now, another example. We decided to create the course called Rhetoric. Rhetoric is new in most of the schools in Vietnam. So we put 2 options in front of the students. In order to create a rhetoric course, and so that you can feedback and improve the course, we can borrow the syllabi from many other universities in the US. You look at them, we prototype them, and then you give feedback. We get there with a syllabus for our rhetoric course. We also have another option, that you create together with faculty a rhetoric course completely from a blank page in front of you. Of course, like all the students, they choose the easy way. Okay, let's borrow, and then let's run with it, and then we have the course in no time. 2 days into the whole process, the student came to the professors and say, I have a question. Rhetoric in the West was not the same as rhetoric in Vietnam. The way how we consider persuasive or argumentative in Vietnamese or in Vietnam was not the same as you Americans consider persuasive or argumentative in the West. We don't believe that the syllabi were appropriate for us. Let us do a completely new syllabus again. So they took the challenge, and I had to say that challenge, at some point we thought that it is too big, insurmountable, and you could imagine all the emotion that the student went through. One day, extremely happy, excited, the next day, despair, disappointed, because they just couldn't get to where they wanted to do. But then after 1 month, they presented, together with some guidance of faculty, a complete syllabus for rhetoric course. And when I show it to a lot of my colleagues at the top universities in the US, they just look at them or look at the syllabus in awe. They just couldn't believe that within 1 month, and then the students could do it and could take it, run with it, of course under a certain guidance, and they could do the whole thing, a complete course, reflecting the cultural difference between Vietnam and the rest of the world. So through all these examples, that help us to look back and think, what should we do? We believe that giving the student a chance that they can own their experience, give them the chance that they can sit in the seat of the professors, and the professors sit in the seat of the students and see the whole experience through each other's lens. That would basically help us to come up with the idea of a new university and a new education experience. And when you think about it, you think about trying to be innovative in education. A lot of people say that it is impossible because even education or university is understood as a place where you seek truth and knowledge. But among all institutions in the society, university is the most conservative. And that's why you don't see many changes in the way how universities structure and conducted their teaching and learning. But here, we could do it. Of course, we know that we were given a very wonderful opportunity to do it from the ground up and from the beginning. But we also acknowledge that Vietnam is a very, very special place. The people in Vietnam are very open to any changes in education, maybe for the wrong reasons, because they were so disappointed with what they have seen in our education system so far. So that's why they just want anything new, anything look different, that they will welcome. But at the same time, you would also want to ask, in a country like Vietnam, where we have a very young population, people are so open to changes, and they are crying for change. And if we can do it in the institution which is so conservative, known all over the world, then just imagine what we can do with many other things in the society if we dare to try to think a little bit differently, try to push the boundary slowly, and then reimagine the world that we can create and we can live in. Thank you.